The madness is upon us. March is in full swing, and we finally have a bracket, or a lot of brackets. It is time to break it all down. Joined now by Timmy, Hall 97.1 The Fan, Nicole, Shearin. Guys, we're here.
We're here. This is the winning bracket right here. I got it.
I just have one thing to say, and that's ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba.
And with that, the one thing everybody in Columbus wanted to know today, was there an outside chance that the Buckeyes would find themselves in the tournament? Well, that's the one thing you need to see. Ohio State, the third team out of the tournament this year. That 17-win mark, not enough to get them in. Timmy, I'll start with you. Are you shocked? Probably not. Are you frustrated?
Well, I think we're all frustrated, right? Because this was a team that pretty much for the last 3 weeks was on the right side looking in. It wasn't until that home court loss to Northwestern where we really started to get concerned. To have a 17-15 overall record, that's a stretch to be an NCAA tournament team. To be this close, I think it showed us something about what the bubble line was. But I don't hear arguments about bubble teams. There's a lot of teams that get in this thing. If you don't want to be on the bubble, win more games, lose less games, then you'll be okay in the future.
It's a good point there. Nicole, do you agree? I mean, it's hard to complain they only won 17 games this year.
That's the thing. It's that simple. If they beat Northwestern and they beat Iowa, they're in the tournament. I think that's the easy answer. If you win games, you'll get in. But yes, you can go into the arguments. You look at their quad one wins. You look at their non-conference schedule. They do have some good ones when you look at it from that sort of standpoint. But just win the games, and you're going to be in the tournament.
The other big question for Ohio State on Selection Sunday, would the women's team get to host? And
yes,
we had to wait till the third regional, but you could see the Buckeyes watching on as they heard their name called with that 4 next to it, which means Columbus will play host, and they will play host to Montana State. If the Buckeyes were to win, they could face off with 5-seed Tennessee, but for Kevin McGuff, he's focused on that first game.
You know, it's I think a very difficult bracket. There's a lot of great teams, and so we'll take it one game at a time. But we know we're going to have to be very good to win our first one and advance anywhere beyond that.
So that feels really big for the Buckeyes. I mean, that was the big question the last month here. Hosting in Columbus, Tennessee, obviously a great team, but to see them get to host again, not just good for the program, not just good because you like to play at home, but it's extra money into the shot. It's fans getting a chance to see the Buckeyes in the tournament, Timmy.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a team that started out with the record that they started out with, and then they had their trip out west where you had to face USC and UCLA, and they kind of got beat up by both. They were hanging in that UCLA game, but then the fourth quarter hit them, and it caught them, and then they obviously saw the Bruins again, and that was really ugly, their exit in the Big Ten tournament. And they wind up hosting, and strength of their conference, strength of their schedule. So to get that 4 seed and to still host, I think gives them a good chance to maybe rebound and catch Tennessee to make a Sweet 16 run.
No, for sure. And I think you bring up that tough loss to UCLA. I think that was the big question mark if they were going to host or not because of that big loss. It wasn't pretty, but when you look at the Buckeyes' resume, they're undefeated at home. They've got big-time wins over teams like Michigan State, Maryland, 2 overtime wins out of 3 all season. These ladies deserve to host a tournament game, and I think we saw it tonight that it happened.
All right, guys, we've got the brackets. It's time to break it all down. Roll that open. So we're going to start with the fun part because everyone likes to talk about upsets. We're going to go region by region.
Okay.
We'll start with that #1 overall seed, and the Auburn Tigers earned that even after struggling down the stretch a little bit there. So when you look at that South region, Timmy, I'm going to start with you. I know you filled it out before they went to commercial. What was the game that immediately jumped out? Who's the team that you are circling?
Well, I do have Auburn coming out of this region because I initially had Michigan State.
Okay.
But the more I thought about it, when we did our YouTube live show, me and my Mad About Hoops podcast buddies, I was thinking Michigan State. But ultimately, the power of the SEC, it wins over. I can't see a player as talented as Janai Broome. I don't want to really knock that guy out. And Bruce Pearl, he's got a squad right there. But the game that sticks out to me is with the Big Ten tournament champs, Michigan, and UC San Diego in their first year actually being eligible since bumping up. Their coach is a really cool story. He stuck with the program through the entire transition. 30-win team from the Big West. I was watching that game against UC Irvine. That is a good squad that can turn teams over.
All right, Nicole, give me your upset team. Is it the same game?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Ding, ding, ding. Yale is my upset alert. Yale,
Smart guys.
And exactly, the smart guys, and they know how to hoop as well, okay? A&M, they've been playing well, but they've upset some teams. They've been upset. I think Yale's going to power through. They knocked Auburn off last year, if you guys remember that. Now, I only see them going until the second round.
When I look at this horrible handwriting, I will say I have Yale in the round of 32. I don't think that's really an upset region. But in the end, we'll get in the second segment about our actual picks, but I think I like both of those there. Yale, I think a good upset.
Smart guy.
Michigan, they're going to be tired coming off that game, off that tournament run. That's a lot.
It takes you all the way to Sunday.
Takes you all the way to Sunday. All right, we're going to move to the East bracket here where Duke earns the number 1 overall seed. Alabama gets the number 2 seed. Timmy, we'll go back to you. Give me your upset pick first. The team that you're riding with, you're going to have a shirt by the end of March.
I really see that this could be a region for John Gross and the Akron Zips.
Wow.
The Akron Zips are only the second Ohio team in the field, which is not good. Only one out of Ohio's Big Four got a bid, Xavier, and they're going to be going through the first 4. But Akron, MAC tournament champs, it still remains that no other team in the MAC can get into this field. It's the craziest thing to me because it's pretty strong mid-major basketball, but they survive against Miami. And this is a coach, the former Buckeye assistant, that has been at many different levels of college basketball and has found a lot of success here recently at Akron. And I know I like VCU and BYU. I think that's a really interesting 11-6 game where I can see VCU. I've always been a fan of them and their style since Shaka Smart made them a darling, taking them to the Final Four, from first 4 to the Final 4 when they beat Kansas in that Elite 8 game to get there. So I like VCU as well.
All right.
Well, Tim and I are in a fight because I got BYU
Oh,
going pretty far.
yeah, that's not good for me then.
I have BYU going all the way to the Elite 8. I think they're the dark horse.
All right.
Yes,
That's your
Tim.
upset right
Call
there,
me
ladies and
when
gentlemen.
it happens.
No.
Call me when it happens, okay? They've won 9 of their last 10 games. They're hot when it matters most. They're riding all the way to the Elite 8, and I can't wait to tell you I told you so when it happens.
We'll see.
I like Vandy winning that opening game against St. Mary's. Doesn't feel like a massive.
I like Vandy.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a
They
massive
got like
upset.
6
Liberty.
outrageously good wins
That's
this year.
kind of a safe upset.
Yeah.
Liberty over Oregon. I don't think there's a lot of my team in this region, and I don't want to spoil it, but I love Wisconsin out of this region. I love it. Love
can see that.
Wisconsin.
Likes the
I can see
Love
that.
Arizona. Not a big fan of Duke and Alabama.
John Tange at
Alabama's
Wisconsin.
gonna get
He
knocked.
is a player.
All right, let's move to the Midwest region, and Houston gets the number 1 overall seed here, the number 2 seed. Tennessee, boy, just SEC teams all across the board. 14 for that conference. And Timmy, we'll go back to you. Give me your upset pick in this region.
Oh, as much as I'm looking at the 8-9 feeder game into the Houston matchup and how you see the Zags. Anytime you see the Zags in there at an 8 or a 9 seed with what they've been over the last 20 years and what you know Mark Few can do and the way they can recruit, makes you nervous because they did beat St. Mary's in their West Coast Conference championship game in the tournament. But I can't do that. I can't in good faith do that. I really do see Utah State creating some issues for Tennessee. So that's not much of an upset, a 10 over a 7.
You don't have to be flashy. It's your thoughts, Timmy.
How about High Point over Purdue?
There we go.
There we go.
Now you stole hers
There we
right
go.
before she got her
Come
chance.
on.
High Point, watch some of that team in their conference tournament championship. Got the dude out there mean mugging the entire opposing squad.
So that's your big one?
They're a fun
So
squad.
I have 2 quickly. Well, they're also on a 14-game win streak right now. Like,
Yeah,
come
that's
on,
helpful.
Big South, let's go. It's not because I went to Georgia, but I think the Bulldogs upset Gonzaga.
okay, moving on.
They beat Florida this year.
not
I mean,
'cause
the
I went
Dogs
to
are
Georgia.
they're not gonna make a run, but they're gonna take down Gonzaga.
Okay.
Those are my 2.
All right, Xavier. The nice thing about this one is if they don't win in the first 4, I can just cross it out and redo it before it's done. But I think Xavier makes a run to the Sweet 16. And then, I mean, just how about Houston and Gonzaga
Okay.
there? All right, let's get to the last region here before we go to break, and that is the West Regional, where Florida gets the number 1 overall seed, and then Rick Pitino and St. John's, the best story in basketball, the number 2 seed. Timmy, quickly, you're upset in this region.
Well, we know that Arkansas is going to beat Kansas, so
Yes.
I can give you that
But
one.
can we talk about that
right off the
matchup,
spot.
Iconic.
Great.
It's great, where you got Bill Self and Coach
Yeah.
Cal, and then down below you have a potential for a Cal and Rick Pitino second round Johnnies and Arkansas Razorbacks. How cool would that be? I think I got Drake possibly making the Sweet 16 run. I know that's going to be a popular pick, 30-win team. Coach Ben McCollum could be Iowa's
Literally
coach.
same.
Who
I got
knows?
Drake going to the Sweet 16.
My upset in this region, Maryland. I have them in the Elite Eight. All the way riding the Terps. We went through our upsets, but now it's time to give who we think is going to make it to the end of the March and early April here. And Timmy, I'll start with you. Let's do Final Four first and why.
Okay, Final Four. I said this before. I sort of changed what I initially was thinking with Michigan State over Auburn. I am going to stay with the SEC powerhouse, even though some people think that there's some holes with this Auburn team. I think they're going to shut that down real quick.
Recently.
I think they're going to shut that down real quick with who they've been all season long. This was a team that was up by almost 50 points on Ohio State earlier. My goodness.
We don't have to talk
Are they good and they're deep? So Auburn out of the South. Florida is just incredible. They have everything you could possibly want in a college basketball team. They've got the shooting, they've got defense, they've got team chemistry, they've got bigs, they've got guards, they've got it all. Alabama to go 3 for 3 with the SEC, sort of with the conference that took 14 teams to the big dance. Strongest league, strongest competition. They're the most up-tempo style. I think Mark Sears is one of the more elite guards. The Grant Nelson injury issue concerns me a little bit, but Cooper Flagg's got an injury issue himself, and those ankle sprains are pretty tough to come back from. Could he, make it to the second weekend? We'll even have to play in the first 2 rounds. But I got Bama and then Houston to be my third 1 seed out of the Midwest. I'll have them over Tennessee.
Yeah.
Timmy, 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed. He really went off the cuff there. We like
You're
it.
about to roast mine.
All right, let's hear it. Uh-oh.
I'm very similar to Tim, but
that's
I
great.
have Michigan State going to the Final Four.
Okay.
I like the Spartans. I think they've been playing some good ball as of late. Give me the Gators. Give me
She
the
went to
Gators.
Georgia and she's
I went
doing
to
that.
Georgia and I just did that. But Tim said it. I mean, these Gators are playing out of their minds right now. They've won 12 of the last 13 games. They took down Bama by almost, I think, 25 points in the SEC tournament.
It was a beatdown.
It was a bloodbath. These Gators are peaking when it matters most. They're going to win it all. But on the other side, I've got Duke and Houston. And I know that's kind of a basic choice, but when you look at how these two teams are playing basketball, it's kind of an obvious pick for me.
All right. My
Here we
4,
go.
I decided not to just write 4 1 seeds in.
This is a 4-1 seed.
All right, whatever that was. Michigan State, I'm with you. What about the Johnnies?
Right, that's a 2.
Yeah,
They're the
I like
best
that.
story
I like that.
in basketball. Rick Pitino. Then I like Wisconsin to come out of that region with Duke and Alabama. And then Houston as the 1 seed. So the other thing, I took Maryland to my Elite Eight, which I really like. I like the Terps. I think they're pretty good. So champion, be quick here. Who's winning it all and why?
The Gators.
The
For
Gators.
the reasons that I said.
All right.
They seem to be the dominant team right now.
Who's winning
Go
it?
Gators!
That is something. All right, my pick. I hate doing this because my family watches this show and we're in a bracket pool. So now they're going to know my
they're
picks.
gonna know.
I think the Houston Cougars walk away with the national title. They are a very, very good
Could be their
team.
time.
Could be their
Kelvin
time.
Sampson has had that just
He's had-
churning out talent.